Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you guys my top 5 favorite things about the LG V50 ThinQ, and I'm also going to share with you guys my top 3 concerns about the device. This is TK, let's check it out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. LG V50 ThinQ is a unique device by itself, and what I mean by that is it has actually some characteristics that are unique to it. One of which obviously is the ability of having a 3.5mm headphone jack. That actually at the end of 2019 is a unique feature, as even Samsung with their Note devices removed that. The other thing that we have here, on top of the fact that we have some great setup hardware, is also the ability of using these 3 pogo pins that are unique to this specific model, that is basically the Korean model of the V50 ThinQ. So although it does support LTE in the US, it does not support a 5G connectivity in the US, but the US variant of this that's currently on Verizon as well as Sprint does support LTE as well as 5G in the US. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with the 3 pogo pins, so the accessory that I'm about to talk to you guys about in a little bit, is not compatible with this one. But what we have in here is this basically the first thing I definitely appreciate about this is the design. This is a candy bar style design as far as the device. We have the Snapdragon 855, the latest chipset, definitely a very fast system, very smooth. The UI is basically running the LG UX on top of Android 9.0, so no Android 10 at this point, but hopefully we'll see that update. But we have a 6.4-inch QHD OLED panel to a QHD Plus OLED panel that provides us basically some great dynamic colors, really good fast response here with the, of course, for gaming as well as taking images and so on. All of these things that you get here essentially is top-of-the-notch technology and tech that you get straight from LG. Now, what we have here is 5 cameras, 2 on the front and 3 in the back. That gives us the ability of using and actually having a flexibility of selecting the right lens for the right image and for what you're trying to do. We also have some great hardware when it comes to a software as well to supplement the hardware. And as you can see right there, I have an audio meter that's sitting right there. Basically I'll show you guys in a second a clip that I recorded at UHD, so 4K, 60 frames per second at high megabits. So it's right there, 80 megabits basically as far as the recording quality. And of course, just heavy quality. This is the manual option. We have portrait mode, studio, we have auto mode. The studio mode is basically using for portrait photography, auto, AI camera, manual camera, as well as additional features that you're able to use, and one of which of course is the manual video. Let's go ahead and jump real quick into a video that I just shot with those settings. Talking about the cameras and the hardware that we have here, one of the other things that I definitely appreciate about a V series of device, specifically the LG V50, is the cameras that we have here. We have 3 on the back and 2 on the front, but it's not just that. It's the fact that we're able to control them a little bit more than what you normally are able to do on any other device on the market right now. The camera application on V series of devices give you the ability of focusing specifically on not only the audio levels, having an actual audio meter that's sitting right in front of you on the display. The ability of recording 4K at 60 frames per second at high bitrate is something that is also unique, but also the ability of accepting external audio. This device still has a 3.5mm headphone jack. That actually is something that we can now say it's almost a very rare thing, as Samsung even on their Note devices has dropped that option, and you actually have to use an adapter to be able to even use external audio. So from a productivity sense, this device has the latest chipset, has great cameras, great control, great audio source, and right now I'm recording straight with the microphones that are built in, and you can definitely see the quality of the image. I'm recording at 4K 60 frames per second at high bitrate. So again, definitely very good, and of course the ability of focusing and customizing your images even in manual pro mode is always appreciated. Now I've already covered the fact that I like the build quality, the 6.4-inch display. The other thing that I love about this device is the ability of using a quad DAC, and that's something that is rarely available on any device on the market. And what I'm talking about here is the DTS X 3D surround sound, as well as the hi-fi quad DAC that you have in here. Now unfortunately this does not get turned on unless you have a plugged-in headphones, and what that generally means that if I'm trying to reduce and raise the volume right now, so let's go ahead and go in here and we're going to go over to media. You'll notice media right now just goes up and down normally. But if I plug in the headphones and then I go over here and I turn on, you'll notice the hi-fi quad DAC turned on by itself, and I start raising the volume. I'll go ahead and go back down here. You notice that the actual volume level now no longer goes up by basically just increments. It goes up basically by numbers, and it actually goes up very, very little all the way up till it gets to the highest level. But the audio quality when using the quad DAC, it's one of the things that once you use it, you appreciate, and you end up basically falling in love with LG devices. And you just honestly wonder why you don't have this on many more devices on the market. The quad DAC definitely works very nicely. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with the external speakers or even the boombox effect that we get whenever we put our device on the table. But it definitely works great whenever you're using headphones, which is again a very unique feature to this device now. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about that I really enjoy about the LG V50 ThinQ, specifically this model, well, honestly, it's the ability of actually using these 3 pins on the back to use it for the secondary display case that they offer as an accessory. So let's go ahead and unlock the device. I'll go ahead, that was the gaming center here. And we have this case that's made. It's called the LG dual screen case. Again, made specifically for the Korean model currently. Although, if you guys were watching IFA, they did actually announce the LG G8X, which allows you to actually have something very similar to this. Although, in my opinion, I feel like they kind of learned what they had with this model, with the V50, and they made it better with the LG G8X. And I'll explain to you what it is. Now, the first thing we'll notice is that when I insert the phone into the case, we don't see the second display turn on. You have to actually click this button to turn on the functionality. And I did an entire separate video. You notice right there, I loaded up basically Instagram for me, and I've configured that to work this way. The main difference that we have here, and what I really like about this, is the ability of running 3 different applications at the same time. And then you'll notice right there, I am running 3 different applications at the same time. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that historically, well, we'll get into that with the things that unfortunately are known for LG. But the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is with the G8X is that both displays are the same resolution, where what we have here is a QHD Plus OLED and a 1080p panel. And whenever you connect the 2 displays together, the resolution on the main display drops. So you're not able to stay at QHD, even though you're using this great accessory. And of course, when you close it, we don't have anything else other than an indicated LED up there, as well as the 5G LED here that we have that enables us to see when it connects to 5G, or you have a new notification. Now, when I was talking about the LG G8X, and the reason why I was kind of concerned about that, and that's because generally LG's updating cycle for software has never been the best. And what I mean by that essentially is that we always end up being delayed, or really end up not getting an update that we're supposed to. So in this example would be whatever we saw with the G8X with the new functionalities, the likelihood of it coming back into this version of the V50 is very rare. And specifically, again, this is the Korean model. So I'm not sure if we will ever see all of the new functionalities from the G8X. But what I can say is that LG is definitely doubling down on this actual form factor and providing accessories. And I hope that the 3-pin connector that we have here comes to more US carriers, and we're able to actually enjoy having accessories again. Now, US carriers for the most part opted not to have the pins for the V50. I do hope that the G8X, when it does carry or come over to the US, we're able to see this and actually have it, and basically even have other things that we can use with it. As this is very similar to the way Motorola did it with the Moto Mods, and that's the ability of using these pins as a hot swappable or hot connecting function without having to turn off our device, open our device, take things out, and change modules. The last thing I would love to talk about is, overall, I have to say that the LG UX is definitely a lot faster. It's not the same as we had it before. The settings tabs are pretty good. I would hope that we start seeing updates and actually start getting more consistent update after release. And that's one thing that LG unfortunately does not have currently right now as a strong suit. They release devices and they'll generally maybe push 1 update right away, but then after that we go for a long time, no security patch updates, nothing like that. And I would really appreciate it if they were able to start basically be more consistent, similar to the way we have Samsung doing it in the US, or even other carriers, even Pixel devices. Definitely after sales support is going to be a big thing for consumers, especially when they're considering going in to a device or an ecosystem for at least a year, even 2 years at a time. The best way to describe the LG V50 is that this is a prosumer set of hardware, and with a potential for great improvement with the software side. Outside of the camera application, I feel like gives us a lot of functionalities. We have a lot of options to be able to use with it. The ability of recording at a very high bit rate, the ability of focusing audio, seeing how our audio levels are working, the ability of accepting external audio with the 3.5mm headphone jack. That's a unique thing now. Since not even the Note has the headphone jack anymore, to use that, you'd actually have to buy a dongle for the Note device to be able to use it. And that's an extra $16 accessory that unfortunately was not included in the box. But again, what I'm focusing on right now is what we can do with the V50. We have great connectivity with it. With the US models that you get there, you can get all the way up to 5G on both Verizon and on Sprint. Unfortunately, if you do end up importing the model that I'm showing you in this video with the pins, you won't be able to get 5G, but you'll still be able to get LTE. Actually, I was able to get some pretty good speeds on this device. But where it does come to a little bit of a challenge, it's the software update, and as well as actually just update overall. LG is unfortunately not known for having a very good update cycle once a device is released. You generally will receive maybe 1, maybe 2 updates right away, right after the device is released. And for the most part, you're pretty much stuck with what you have for quite some time. And even if they do push out an update later on, it does take a little bit longer. I'm not sure why we have this situation and why we always have that. As any LG owner will always explain, is that it's a great set of hardware. The software needs a little bit of an update and they could have fine-tuned it, but you just don't get all of the updates that you're supposed to. What we are seeing though is that LG is doubling down on that secondary display functionality. We saw that the LG G8X is coming out with a second display case accessory, and I think that's something that we should start noticing, is that we may start seeing those pogo pins on future devices in the US. Current model doesn't have that, but maybe the future one will. And I think that's an exciting thing, because when you're able to have that multiple display for more functionality, running triple applications, maybe even 4 apps, or even running simultaneous apps on both displays, or even using your display as a gaming pad. I'll link for you guys the link to the video that I did on the gaming pad accessory here for that case, where I showcased all the cool things you can do with it. But in short, if you're looking for a great productivity phone that has a pretty decent battery, great display, great audio in the headphone jack with the quad DAC, as well as the ability of using the boom sound where if you put your device on the table playing music, it gets even louder. So those are things that you can't get with many other devices on the market. The V50 will definitely do great. Again, currently in the US, provided I think over Sprint as well as Verizon. And if you do decide to import the Korean model, make sure you pick up that case, because I think that's definitely worth it with the pins. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.